Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Howdy and hail. Welcome one and all to another episode of Anime Odyssey. Anime Man is having technical difficulties. Hopefully he can get back in here. We had him and then we lost him. But we are joined this week by Dermy Wormy. Welcome, Dermy Wormy, to the panel.
Thank you for having me on. Hello, everybody. I can't see the chat because I'm on my phone, but hello.
Hello. Yeah, he's got some Wi-Fi problems, which we can forgive. We can forgive that. Sometimes the internet just is not your friend. The internet's not going to be your friend sometimes. And you just make the best you can do. But fortunately, he has the ability to still be with us because he reached out and he said, I'd like to give it a try. And I said, no problem. Welcome aboard. Because as I've said, we want to keep expanding this panel. I want to get enough people on here so we can have some good in-depth discussions. And I really want Anime Man to come back here today. He's got to be here because our anime of the month is Ghost Stories. It was his choice, and I want him here to defend himself. He must be.
It was
here.
So awful.
It's bad. It is bad.
I will say it's not Rings of Power bad or She-Hulk bad,
no,
but it is bad.
But in terms of anime, it's bad. And
yeah,
we'll give Anime Man a chance to get in here before we keep going. Say hello to the chat. Hail to Algrim the Strong. Hail to you, good sir. Hail the Goddess. One of my mods, one of my regulars. I see Jaden Hamilton. He's doing some homework. Good young man. Do that work. Work hard. Anime Man, he's there. He's here. He's there. He's there. He's here. At least we know Anime Man is here. Going through the scrolling list here, I also see Kuroburo no Mojo Aki, who is here to support Anime Man. And you're saying you love this anime? Well, sir, I hope I don't make you feel bad with what I'm going to say about this show today. But again, we are all allowed to have our opinions. I want Anime Man here to be able to defend himself if he did like this. I don't know if he liked this. I do not know. I need to know. But all right, Dermy, well, we're giving Anime Man a chance again here. Why don't you introduce yourself overall to everybody since it's the first time live on the channel?
Okie dokie. Well, my name is Dermy Wormy. Usually I have a camera, but like I said, I am having Wi-Fi issues. How do I introduce myself? I'm a member of the Legion of Memers.
Oh,
I'm usually, yep. I have my own YouTube channel where I do news, commentary, reviews, and stuff like that. Currently on Saturdays, I've been reviewing G Gundam. This week will be episode 4. What else do I have to say? I've been I got introduced to all this stuff through Jeremy because I started watching D-Day Cobra in 2020, and then stumbled upon a Gary Christmas panel show where a Mr. Az poured water all over himself and said it was vodka.
I remember that one.
And that's when I realized that this is where I belong.
So when did you start watching anime specifically then? How long have you been watching this stuff? Oh, we had him and we lost him. All right, keep going. So when did you start watching anime? Full, like as an enthusiast, as knowing that I like
as an
shit.
Enthusiast.
Yeah.
Because I first started watching anime when I was 4, but as an avid enthusiast,
as did we all. Honestly, back in my day, it was Voltron and it was Robotech, which were my first tastes.
G Gundam, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z, and Pokemon for me.
And
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yep, that was what was out there. I mean, that's the era of Toonami when Toonami was actually Toonami and Adult Swim was actually Adult Swim and it was actually quality and good, and they didn't start putting.
And Toonami was on in the afternoons and not late at night on a Saturday.
Back in the day, I used to get home from school, and when there was certain shows, I made my personal VHS versions of back when VHS was a thing. That was a thing once upon a time. I had the entire Cell Saga that was shown on Toonami on 2 VHSs that I recorded dutifully as a kid, so I could rewatch it. I recorded all of Sailor Moon R when the Save Our Sailor Scouts campaign was successful, and they brought it back and they started dubbing it and they got it back out and they finished the original runs. I recorded all that shit on VHS so I could watch whenever I want. I mean, that was when I was really getting into it, but that was still back in the day when anime was still hard to come by for me. There was a thing called Blockbuster. You know what that is?
Yeah,
young man.
Yeah, I know what all this stuff is. What's shocking is I might be 25, but all these terms like VHS, tape recorders, and stuff like that, I know because my family didn't have a lot growing up, so we had what we had.
We're just messing with you because it's all in good fun. But yeah, so when Blockbuster was actually still in existence, I used to go in there and I used to look at the wall, and there was a wall of anime in there. And I would just rent what was there. Project A-ko, the original Heroic Legend of Arslan, and a whole Ninja Scroll. I rented all that shit because that's what was there. And then Toonami happened. And then the internet started to explode and fan subs started happening. Of course, a long time to get a show from over in the land of the rising sun, you had to go to fan subs because they weren't going to do it, especially when One Piece started being dubbed and the 4Kids dub was just atrocious. It was one of the worst things ever. And I realized, wow, I want to see the real thing because something tells me I'll like this if I see the real thing. Once I got my hands on real One Piece, I fell in love. And I've been on that journey since late 90s, early 2000s. I've been on that journey since the early 2000s with One Piece, and now we're in the final arc of that, and it's exciting to realize. Even though the final arc will probably take another 5 years, it's still exciting.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I would say like when I first started like actively watching anime would have been, I can't remember the year exactly. I want to say early 2010s.
Okay.
And I was channel surfing late at night on a Saturday or Sunday morning by that time. I don't remember. And I hit Toonami and I saw Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Ooh. Oh.
And then it was like, I have to keep coming back for this. And then I watched Bleach, what was out at the time, finally finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, watched it all.
Mm-hmm. I'm saving it. You see, I'm
Yeah.
saving it right there. I'm saving it. I want to have a bigger panel because I watch this once a year. I go through the whole thing once a year. FMB. I go
Yeah.
through it once a year.
And then few years later, we finally got Netflix, and Netflix had an anime genre. So I went through all sorts of stuff. Some really not things that are as bad as what we watched for this month.
Yeah,
but I've seen some bad anime, and I've seen some good anime.
2010 between 2005 and 2010 is when they started going full widescreen. We had the full 16:9 widescreen, and they started upping the quality of everything. And from 2010 to 2015, personally, I was still doing I was very picky about what I watched. I would just mainly stick to sci-fi and fantasy stuff, maybe a supernatural show here or there, but I was very picky. But when I got back from China and I was laid up for a year when I was sick with actual coof, like OG coof from there, and I hurt my foot as I was physically hurt. I couldn't do much because I just destroyed my right ankle and my right foot in a fall while I was sick there. I had a lot of downtime. Besides playing games I had never played before, I started just diving into all kinds of anime I had never seen before. I started watching everything. So I was already an anime wonk, but I turned it up to a higher level. And I watched stuff I never would have bothered watching. And I realized, wow, I really love just about everything in anime. I love all genres. Yeah, I don't like everything single shonen genre, but I do love all genres.
There's only one genre that I do not like, and that's slice of life animes. It's so boring.
Some are good. Like here's a good one I would suggest. Have you seen Uzaki-chan Just Wants to Hang Out?
No.
That's considered slice of life. It's hysterical. It's comedy though. It's great. The second season's going to come out, I think, in the winter, or maybe I think it's winter or fall. I think it's winter. I don't remember. Second season's about to come out. It's only 12 episodes. But that if you want a good work into a good slice of life, Uzaki-chan Just Wants to Hang Out because it's fun, it's wholesome, and good goddamn, her tits are huge.
Okay, I think I've been told to check some of them out.
That's
but
a good one.
Every time I sit down and watch one, they're always just boring. Like I've seen Your Life in April, and I just kept getting bored, even though people just say it's this brilliant anime that makes you sad and cry, and it's like I'm just bored.
A good slice of life, the best ones that I've seen, and that's not one I generally gravitate to. I admit, slice of life is down there on my choices. There has to be some sort of arc in there, something in there to hold together. Uzaki-chan Just Wants to Hang Out. It has a small one, but it's there because it has the romance angle to it too, the burgeoning romance, and the comedy. The comedy is what's great. That's what I really like about it. The comedy's great, and that one specifically pisses off SJWs. So it quickly caught my radar, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll check it out. But, yeah, so if you want a good slice of life but it's not just slice of life, I recommend Uzaki-chan Just Wants to Hang Out. That's a good one. But I started watching so much stuff, and I mean, I'll be honest, I find certain ports along the coastlines to get it done because I watch seasons as they happen. I will watch right now. I'm very excited as this summer season's coming to an end. I've been watching some stuff, but 2 shows in particular, I'm now happy where at least one of them is almost done. Have you watched Overlord?
I never finished season 1. I always got pulled away by something else, but I've heard that it's really good, and I need to watch it.
Badass. Season 4, I think this is the final episode of season 4 this week. I've been waiting. I'm gonna binge the hell out of that next week.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna because I really like to watch my anime in batches. On a season, I'll usually wait about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks between watchings. If I'm not bored out of my mind and I need something to watch, I can let it stack up because you want to watch an arc. in a season.
Yeah.
You want to get those 4 to 6 episodes in, and you want to get into it. And so I'm really looking forward to Overlord completing. And Is It Wrong to Pick Up Dirt Girls in a Dungeon season 4 is also completing in the next couple of weeks.
I still need to see season 3.
Oh, 3's
that
good.
came out on I started watching through Netflix. I know, bad anime fan, but I now have 9 anime, so I go there a lot. What was I saying?
Without spoilers, season 3 of How to Pick Up Girls,
Mhm.
payoffs from season 1. Some really good payoffs from season 1. Without spoilers, one really major good payoff. I loved it. I cannot wait for season 4 right now. I'm excited. Anyway, all right. We have danced around this long enough. Anime Man, if you can come in and defend yourself, please do. I want you here. This was your choice for the month, but we have been going for 15 minutes now. We need to get started because I am starving. And also, the longer we do this, the longer we keep my Andor review from going up. And lots of people want that. Therefore, let's get started. So, Ghost Stories, year 2000. Oh my God. My God. All right. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. I would have handed it to Anime Man to do it, but I will let him. I'll have to take the lead on this one here. Ghost Stories. So, family moves back to their mother's hometown. Mother has passed away. Got a daughter, her very little brother, or daughter. What is she? 11? Is she 11?
She's in the 5th grade. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, at the end of the series, they go to 12th grade. 12. That's 12. Yes, she's 11. She's at least 10, 11 years old. The brother is 7. They got a father who seems to be an okay guy, I guess. They move back, and they go to school. Quick overview of the fact that shit happens, and they wake up a bunch of. There's construction going on behind the school, and as the land gets destroyed, a bunch of ghosts get woken up from their sleep states that, ironically, her mother, or not ironically, plot-wise, that her mother had put to sleep during her childhood and time at the school. And thus begins 20 episodes of putting ghosts to sleep.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again in a Monster of the Week scenario.
After a while, I don't know if it was the same ghosts after a while.
I know there was supposed to be a different one every week, but it's still the same circumstance every week. And I'm not even going to begin to try and say all their names because honestly, I checked out on their names. I
started watching this show, and there's one good episode, and that's only because I like Vic Mignogna.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, I see now. All right, when I was going to that, now there is a dub out there. And when Dermy reached out to me, and I first brought him into this particular season, he said, I hear there's a problem with the dub, and I hadn't done my research yet. I hadn't started looking at it yet. Tell us about this dub, Dermy.
So, background on this dub is, well, I need to see the sub, but supposedly the sub's decent.
It's at least
not
telling
the greatest
the accurate
thing in the
story. World. It's the accurate lines. I'll just say that. It's accurate.
But it came over to America, and the director, who I can't remember the names off the top of my head. I don't have my second screen to pull them up. So the director decided to say, you know what? Let's ditch the entire story. Let's keep the bare bones, like the barest of bones, just names and basically the base storyline.
Yeah.
And all the dialogue's getting thrown out, and we're just going to do it as a gag reel.
It's horrible. From the listen, I started to watch this as the dub. That's what I got my hands on first. I couldn't get through the first half of the first episode without saying, that's it, I need to go to the sub. And you guys have heard my stance on dubs and subs. When casual watching, I prefer a good dub because we live in the era now where dubs are good. Dubs are well done. We don't live in this era, the 2000s. This is 2000. And not all dubs were bad in 2000, but more often than not, basically 4 out of 5 times, they were going to be shit. Now, just as a comparison, this is the same year that Inuyasha came out. And the Inuyasha dub is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
With Richard Ian Cox and everybody in there. They nail that, knock it out of the park. High class. And I say Inuyasha for a reason, but I'll come back to that. But this dub, like you said, they threw everything out the window. We don't talk. Oh, go ahead.
They want it. I would say this would be a very awful version of like Dragon Ball Z Abridged, where Dragon Ball Z Abridged has the baseline story, baseline names, but is actually funny. And this one's just awful, and
It's awful. I mean, here's where this is when I said, okay, this can't be right. It was the first 10 minutes, and the sister and the little brother who's always goddamn crying over everything.
Yes.
Ugh.
They did that because they thought that would be funny. I kid you not.
But in the regular show, in the actual show, even in the sub, he cries over everything.
Oh.
All 20 episodes. Well, okay, I watched 16. I dipped out of the last 4 between 15 and 20. I dipped out. I couldn't take it anymore. He cries over everything. Everything. The character is a crybaby, and it's so annoying. Anyway, so the sister and little brother get trapped in the schoolhouse in the first episode, and the whole, along with
the two boys.
Hajime. I remember that the one who's the dude bro, Hajime, and Geek Glasses guy who's resident nerd, who is just his animations, his character profile, that those lips drive me crazy.
Yeah.
They get Squirrel, and as she's running into the schoolhouse in the sub, all she's saying is scary, 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 scary as she's running in there. In the dub, and again, you guys know we don't do politics on this channel. We leave it at the door. This show went political instantly by saying, it's okay, don't be afraid. Monsters only eat bad people and Republicans.
It's very dated. Let's just say that.
That's when I realized, okay, that's the kind of dub we're dealing with, where they're going to say whatever they damn please in a line. And not to mention, this dub is horrible because they westernized this show. There's a line in the first episode as well where they talk about, oh, I'm going to go move to Las Vegas. You're in Japan. You're in bumblefuck Japan. Why are you talking about moving to Las Vegas? Oh, here he is. Are you here? Are you here?
Oh, hello.
Oh, okay.
Hello, anime man.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to apologize for taking so long. My computer was encountering technical glitches, and I can say that I'm about as technologically savvy as Leroy Jethro Gibbs.
Okay. That I understand that. That is a reference I understand.
I'm just glad I was able to be here.
Okay, you're here. All right. Well, all right. I'm going to stop my ranting. Defend yourself. Defend yourself for choosing this show. Please.
Okay. For starters, we have to understand this anime. Now, make no mistake. This anime is god awful. It is horrible.
Then why did you make me suffer through this? You don't have to watch 3 episodes of Andor today. I've been doing Rings of Power. Why did you make me do this? Why?
Because I wanted to be part of the fun of making all of us suffer.
No.
I knew it. I called it.
No, this is supposed to be fun. Do you understand how angry I've been all day? I had to do Andor, and then I had to get ready for this by reviewing.
That being said, before we continue, a couple things. At the end of the show, is Dermy Wormy going to pick next month's category, or do I?
We'll review that behind the scenes. We'll go over that.
Also, after. Before the show ends, if you don't mind, I got some things I'd like to plug at the end of the show, if that's okay.
Fine. Well, plugging happens. Yeah, okay. That's normal. No, you know our rules. We pimp at the end of the show. Don't worry about that. As always.
Also, one more thing before we continue, Adam. I'm going to politely disagree with you, but I want you to understand that the last thing I ever want to do is antagonize you. Or even antagonize Dermy Wormy, because, well, I may disagree with you on some things, but I respect you a lot. And the last thing I ever want to do is see us become enemies.
Well, dude, just because you chose a bad show, I'm not going to throw you off the panel, okay? I'm not going to throw you off the panel, but...
Why am I panicking? Aspie!
I don't know what that means.
It means I have Asperger syndrome, a rare mild form of autism.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, still, all right. But
why did I choose? Now, why I chose this? Because the fact is, whether you like it or not, this show is actually the progenitor of a bridge series. Without this, we wouldn't have such brilliance as Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged by Little Karibo, or even
Okay.
Hellsing Ultimate Abridged by Team Four Star, a group
Actually,
who a group I have tremendous respect
Actually, here's the
for.
thing. I'm not into a bridge stuff. I like to watch my show. I don't want a bridge. I will watch all of Yu-Gi-Oh, which I did. I did a full rewatch a couple years ago from beginning to end. I will watch. Well, okay, I skipped the filler, but still, I will watch it all. I don't want a bridge. I want the whole thing. All right, go ahead.
I will say Dragon Ball Z Abridged. That is on par with the original Dragon Ball Z. I will say that.
See, if I'm gonna rewatch DBZ, I do Kai now. That's what I go to. I go to Kai because it just cuts out the filler, and that's good enough for me.
I do agree with that. I noticed that Kai, Dragon Ball Z Kai, it did cut out a lot of the filler.
Yeah,
Not to,
filler
not to
is
mention,
worthless.
not to mention the intro song by Vic Mignogna was just killer.
Now, here's the thing,
Yes,
though.
it is.
This show is basically 20 episodes of filler ghost stories. It's just there is no sealing the ghosts. You could call it an arc, but it's Monster of the Week. Ugh.
If you don't mind, I got some things I'd like to say.
Go.
Well, first of all, with the protagonist, the girl, yeah, she's spunky. And
She's a bitch.
She has the likability of Brie Larson.
Nobody is likable in this show. Nobody.
Absolutely, everybody's likable. In fact, in my humble opinion, the only character that's actually likable in the show is a certain demon-possessed cat.
I don't even like him. I hate him too. I hate everybody in this show.
Because without him, we wouldn't have arguably one of the funniest lines in that show. Run! She's a ghost and a bitch.
That's if you're watching the dub, and the dub has a lot of problems. We were discussing it as you came in. The dub has a lot of problems because, like Dermy said, they threw out the script basically.
Yeah,
threw it out.
I can tell you that I can actually tell you the reason why, and the history is very fascinating. You see, in Japan, this is a shining example of what's called corporate hubris, because what you had was a manga that did tremendously well, and some big company thought that they could take it and use it to make some money. The problem is, yes, it did make some money, but it really didn't do all that well. So when they gave the dubbing rights to ADV, they were desperate to get a return. So they came up with 4 rules. 1, don't change the names of any of the characters or the ghosts. Reasonable. 2, don't change how the ghosts are banished / killed. Perfectly reasonable. Rule 3, don't change the meaning of each episode. And if I might use you as an example, Adam, I've read the first chapter of your book Guardian of Innocence, and your Chronicles of Rosetta book, in my humble opinion, has a tremendously stable base to it. And I think it's only a matter of time before it succeeds. And I suspect that when it does that, well, somebody may want to make it into a anime series. And if that's the case, I know enough about you that you would demand that they keep the characters and everything the way you intended it to be.
Well, first of all, I mean, just to thank you for the support, and I hope to prove your hopes and dreams right one day. I mean, we're getting there. The channel has to reach a certain threshold before we do the crowdfund, and I'm currently in another edit of it. So I fell into that a couple of weeks ago. Secondly, though, I admit that when I do a lot of what I do for years, it's been that way for about, I would say, 15 years. I write it in my head. I see it animated rather than live action. So I admit that I see things animated when I do it. But secondly, I'm not doing what I want to do. I don't care if anything ever gets animated or live actioned. The book is all that matters to me.
Yeah.
So, and anybody ever, and here's the thing, I wouldn't let anybody touch anything I'm going to do until it would be done. This is book 1 of 5. So it's not even close to being, well, it's all done up here, but it wouldn't be close. But if I ever struck any sort of deal, I would have to have complete creative control. I would never sign away control over anything.
That's exactly what the creator of Reacher did when he did this series on Netflix.
That's why Reacher's so damn good.
Yep, because and also
actually Amazon. It's on Amazon. Actually,
I say corrected, Amazon. Now, getting back to the ghost stories. Rule number 4. Now, this is the rule that changed everything. Special thanks to Arcada and Anime America for the research and wonderful videos. Do everything you can to make this show a success. and the end result, in my
Failure.
and the end result, in my opinion, is stuff that, well, I will say that there were a number of the jokes that fell flat, but there were a lot of it that I actually found myself enjoying. I know that there are people out there that don't like it, that may not like it. I understand you disagree with it, and that's fine. But I thought that there were some jokes that were funny.
Well, we're gonna have to stop. I can't answer that. I can't debate you on that because I stopped watching the dub halfway through the first episode. I went to the subtitles because I could not stand it. When you're westernizing this dub, you asked me for a list, and I gave you my list in our private discussions. This dub failed the moment it westernized the content.
I actually have some counter arguments for that.
Oh, well, listen, but when it does that, it fails. And when you're talking about Western politics in Japan, you've lost it. And when you politicize something instantly, which this is essentially a children's show, when you're politicizing what is essentially a show about a bunch of annoying kids, you lose any foundation as far as I'm concerned. I went to the sub. The sub was only, at least I said this to Derm before you got here. At least the sub was giving me the exact dialogue that was going on, the exact story. It was still bad, but at least it was that, and I didn't have to suffer through hackneyed jokes and politicization and really bad dubbing voice acting. The voice acting is also crap in this show. You have to acknowledge that, dude. Please tell me you acknowledge that. It's terrible.
And the writing and the acting is it leaves something to be desired. Though I will say this: the animation it's definitely mediocre.
It's mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dermy, you watched the full dub, right? Or as far as you could get.
I got all the way up to, there's 20 episodes, so episode 18, and then I had to check out.
Yeah, I admit I got to 14. And then I skipped to 20. When I went and checked the synopsis, like, okay, nothing happens. I'm going right to 20 at this point.
I forced myself to watch all 20 episodes twice over. Why? Because Aspie.
All right, so Dermy, go ahead, Dermy. Yeah, I was going to ask you anyway. Go ahead.
I mean, I have Asperger's too, but even I didn't want to suffer through all that.
I made myself watch it because, well, that and the fact that I'm a get her done kind of guy.
Okay.
All right, so Dermy, you watched the whole thing in dub. We were in this mission before Anime Man came here. We were in the process of this. What are your criticisms of the dub?
My biggest criticism. So you can westernize a show relatively well, and I usually point to Pokemon. There are some aspects of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh that are westernization kind of makes it look weird because of what they have to censor out. But the shows are still relatively popular and relatively good.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problem is when they westernized this and made it also political, you also extremely dated yourself. And some of these jokes, 2000, I was 4 years old. I don't get half these jokes. And you get this whole moment where they're making jokes about George W. Bush, and I'm like, I don't get it.
They did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, remember, I went to the sub, so I hope you guys understand. I have to reserve my sanity with everything I'm reviewing. I couldn't do this. This was not something I could stomach on the dub. So they actually made W jokes.
Yeah, they made W jokes, but I think one of the creepiest ones is how sexual they kind of get with the kids.
They were even in that first episode for it. I mean, granted, the panties thing lasted for about 6 episodes, and yeah, that's kind of a staple of that's low. That's a certain level of lowbrow Japanese humor, but I've never seen it applied to what they refer to as middle schoolers in this, or these are elementary schoolers. These aren't in middle school; these are elementary schoolers. Middle school in Japan runs from 13 to 15, I believe. Mm-hmm. They structure their school different than us. In high school stuff, yeah, that's high school stuff. That's jokes, that's fun. But when it comes to the doing it with little kids, I was immediately put off when it started, and they kept doing it. Even in the subverse, I was like, "What is this? What is this?" Go ahead.
So, how much of the dub did you? So you got to like all the genital talk.
No,
Yeah.
I dipped out in episode 1. I went to the subs for
Oh,
episode 2
yeah.
and beyond.
So
Yeah.
I
there,
saw the episodes, and well, that kind of creeped me out.
it gets really creepy because there's a whole episode where they're talking about size queens. Well, it's not a whole episode, but that's like a character who's maybe the same age is talking about size queens. They're talking about banging and all this, and then there's an episode where two teachers actively talk about having relations in front of the kids, and it's like this is kind of creepy.
I don't
Yeah,
remember seeing
that
that
was just
in the.
that
That's
was
not in the
just
sub.
that was
That's
just
not in the
lady.
sub.
That was just lady. No, no, no.
Okay, Anime Man. Then all right, your counter arguments to some of what we said. Then, so go ahead.
Okay, for starters, as to the whole westernizing, we have to understand that sometimes westernizing doesn't work, but in fairness, there are some things in Japan that don't work over here, and vice versa. That's just the
All
way
right,
it
I'll
goes.
let you finish your point, and then I'll jump in. I'll let you finish.
Humor can be a very, how shall we say, subjective thing. Dave Chappelle knows that better than anyone.
Yes, true.
Go ahead, finish your points. I'm going to finish all your points, and then I will chime in because I don't want to talk over you. So go ahead.
Point number one. The dub made no pretenses about being totally true to the story. In fact, the story. Hold on. Mind you, I'm reading this. I had to get some help from this because, well, to be bluntly frank, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Well, at least I'm not Frosk. But then again, she's probably on the unemployment line now.
Nah, she'll be picked up by some other woke crap.
In fact, the story in the original language was terribly generic, as were the characters.
But
made the characters unlikable.
Well, they're still unlikable in the dub. The characters are unlikable in the sub, and they're unlikable in the dub. Even in that first episode, which introduces every single character, they're all unlikable. Well, okay, maybe the chick in the 6th grade, the spirit medium chick, she is likable, but she's plain. She's boring. There's nothing to her. She's a tool for the dead mother.
Yeah.
There's something to her. She's just really annoying.
Yeah, she's boring.
The dub actually poked fun at the line speed of the sentences. The lip flat speed is something that I would say probably trips up Japanese actors as well as the dub voice actors.
See, all right, I'm jumping in here. Okay, let's talk about this point. I'm going to disagree that, first of all, that humor doesn't carry, specifically because in this day and age, with every single anime that we get dubbed, and I make clear, I watch a lot of dub as subs. I'll watch the subs first, and then when I rewatch later, when it's got the dual audio, I'll switch to the dub if I want to casually watch.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese humor for at least a good decade now has been carried over just fine. There's been no need to switch it for Western humor in anything, especially in shows that are rooted in Japan. Fantasy stuff, yeah, they'll use a lot of tropes, or sci-fi stuff use a lot of tropes. And a good example is Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of took place in Japan. It was not quite our world because of the cities and names like that. But either way, the humor seems to have carried over just fine in modern age. I don't know why you would say that in 2000 the humor wouldn't carry over. It's basically all the same humor, the same tropes, the same type of stuff. So I disagree on that. I think that's a lame excuse by those behind this, not you, by those behind this, to say we have to change this because the Japanese humor isn't going to happen. We have to westernize it for this. This show westernized. This show, 2000, I never saw it on any sort of network or any sort of release anywhere. I mean, Toonami was a thing in 2000. Toonami was in its second generation in 2000. It was taking off. This kind of thing, if it had been picked up, it would have gone on the midnight run where they would put stuff like this with a little bit of a so-called horror aspect to it. But I never saw this place anywhere until you graced me with this show at the beginning of the month. I'd never heard of this show. So I really don't. I think that for them to claim that they have to westernize it to make it acceptable by Western people, I don't buy that. I don't buy it. Don't buy it at all. Don't buy it at all. All right, your next point.
Okay. Yeah, this show improv. Let's see here again. The show dub improvised to make the anime profitable because it failed miserably in its own language. Tell me, a good example of this would be: have you ever heard of Samurai Pizza Cats?
No.
No.
Yeah, you might want to look that up sometime. Now, the fourth point, the dub out of the gate is making fun of everything.
No, it's not.
Yeah, yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not. No, it's not.
It actually.
No,
They
no,
actually.
anime. When they say the fact that they say right in the beginning, monsters only eat bad people and Republicans, that's not making fun of everything. That isn't. And there's no lines throwing at the left.
They actually have a. Actually, yes, there are. They have a running gag in there about Christian Slater's career. I can give you some prime examples.
So what does Christian Slater's career have to do with Democrat politics?
Let's see here. Yeah, true. It has to do with a celebrity whose career hasn't done all that well.
But what does that have? They took if you to make your argument stick, they would have to take equal shot at politics of the Democrats, not just Republicans. From what I've heard, they've only took shots at Republicans and those on the right in this show.
They did take shots at Democrats. A good example of this would be in episode 2 at 6:20. They actually made fun of Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton's he's not a politician.
In episode 7 at 4:58, they made fun of Hillary Clinton.
What's the line? Read me the joke.
The line is when Leo is coming in to see his mother, he sees her playing playing with a little control pad on the TV. Says, "Mom, are you playing GTA again? Didn't you hear what Hillary Clinton said?"
How is that political? How is that making fun of Hillary Clinton?
It's the mentioning of her.
But that mentioning,
making it sound like she knows everything.
No, anime man. That's not taking a pot shot at Hillary Clinton. That's nothing. I'm sorry. That's not equal. That's not equal opportunity offending. Like, to use an example, Dave Chappelle is an equal opportunity offender. He will take shots at everybody. That's why his humor works, because he's dishing it to all. That just saying that about Hillary, that's with all the W jokes we heard about, and also the line that I specifically heard before I switched to the subs just so I could get through this. That's not equal opportunity offending. That's not taking shots at everybody. That isn't. I'm sorry.
Another good example of this would be at 9:59 in episode 6. They actually made fun of PETA.
Again, everybody making fun of PETA. Everybody hates PETA. Show me anybody that likes PETA. PETA are assholes. South Park made fun of PETA a long time ago. This isn't equal opportunity humor, and the fact that they keep going back to the well for ideological humor. I'm saying
that was one of the things that bothered me about a little bit about this. The fact that they kept going back to Republicans and conservatives. That I thought, one time is one thing.
And that brings me back to my point, though. When we're talking about a Japanese-based show, this is based in Japan. Why should these? Yeah, you're dubbing this for Western people. It's still taking place in Japan. Why are they making jokes about Western stories, about stories in America? Nobody in Japan gives two shits about any of that going on there. So it completely takes you out of the realm. This is, like I said, this is bumblefuck Japan. They don't know or care about Hillary Clinton, George W. Bush, Republicans, or Democrats. But the people involved in this dub care about their ideology. Those are the PC crowd. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
I will say not everybody actually was like that. The reason this show really suffers is because the voice actors were told to do whatever they wanted to do. So you get, and I say this because you get to the episode where Vic Mignogna comes in, and he did things that he wanted to do, but also didn't want to be really attached to the project. I went to Anime Matsuri and he talked about it.
Really?
He said that.
Really?
Yeah, on that episode, he specifically said to put him in under a fake name. And that was the painter episode, like the
Da Vinci
skeleton.
Episode. Yeah, Da Vinci.
Yeah, he was that guy. And he didn't want anything to be a part of it until somebody basically asked him to sign a copy. But anyways, he said he heard the stories, only came in to do a few lines and dipped. But basically, the only person that was super political would be that little girl. Everybody else was different.
Okay. But
so I will say it was that
Okay.
actor. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
I can look right here. I have it right here. I can take a look.
But to bolster your point, this is one of the big reasons I refuse to watch the dub of. I can't remember the anime. It's one of those harem animes that people love. Has the most famous waifu in it.
Hang on. Hilary Hagg is the voice actress of Satsuki.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So that was a lot of her own doing to throw all those ideas into there. Not, she's the only one that ever gets political at all. Everybody else is more
But it
annoying.
Still ruins it. It still ruins it. And
it does ruin it.
It makes it unwatchable for at least me because
I can, if it makes you feel any better, Adam, I can see that. I can definitely see your point, and I concede.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's just I disagree. I just disagree. You can still. I simply don't think it was evenly done. When you keep going back to the well, it's like that. And on top of that, let's step back from this now. And again, well, you brought up the dubbing speed, the dialogue speed in this. It's what I called rush dubbing. They're rushing so quickly to get those lines in that it gets a jumbled mess in the dub. Am I off base on that?
Yeah, because sometimes it feels like you go from one person talking immediately to the next instead of like maybe a smooth transition.
From what I understand, they actually do the animation first, then have the voice actors do their thing.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. The dub, you're always gonna have to deal with the animation being done first. That's why with a good dub, they craft it well enough that you can fit in the lines to move with the mouth, but still get the original points across. And sometimes they'll keep talking when a character's off screen, so you can maybe finish a line all the way. And they do that in Japan too, to make sure they can get all the lines in and not have to keep the mouth going. But everything felt rushed when it came to the dub on this one. And then the overacting performances too. Is that fair to say they overact in this with the dub? It's way over the top.
I would say yeah, but I don't have a problem with some overacting.
Okay.
Because, and I'll defend the Vic Mignogna episode, even though it is still bad. But Vic Mignogna overacts, and it's kind of enjoyable.
Okay. All right.
And that's something that I really like about Vic Mignogna is he puts all of himself into it.
Oh, I love Vic.
You should. So. Yeah, especially cough cough. Star Trek Continues. Cough cough.
Mm-hmm. So I don't have a problem with the overacting. I would say, I forgot what I was going, but the show's just awful altogether.
I fully agree. I actually fully agree with you. The show is, pardon my language, horse crap.
All right. All right. So we're gonna agree it's horse crap. So let's take off about listen. We're all have this shows you guys we can have an intelligent conversation and not freak out disagreeing about things.
And Adam, if I might say so, I'm really glad to see that we haven't broken out into cussing and swearing, and that we're still being.
Well,
why
respectful.
would I?
Why would I?
It was one of my fears coming up to this.
Well, I'm angry, but I'm not. I'm only angry at you for making me do it. But I'm not gonna. Like I said, I'm not gonna throw you off the panel. There's gonna come a time where I'm probably gonna choose a show you're gonna hate. There's gonna come a time. It's just the way it is.
Fair point. As I said, I just don't want us to be enemies because I got a lot of respect for you.
We're normal people. Just because I take this also as you did this out of we could see now you did this as more of a prank than anything, and all that means is that someday I'll have to get you back. That's all that means.
Why does that make me feel insecure?
Hey, it's my channel. I'll get you one day. Anyway, but no, but in the end, no, we're not crazy people. We're normal. We can get passionate and annoyed at stuff, but that doesn't mean that we have to resort to nuclear tactics here. In the end, though, so why don't we, as we round this out, we've been going for almost an hour now. Let's talk about the actual show itself. Then let's take it, because even though I watched the sub, the events are still the same. The stuff is still the same. The function, the format is still the same. Let's talk about that and why it's terrible. This, first of all, here's something that I hate. I hate it that our protagonists are a bunch of kids. I hate this.
Not to mention the protagonist, the young girl. As I said, she has the likability of Brie Larson.
No, she's a know-it-all bitch. And
you can't stand those types.
I personally don't enjoy a show, and I don't watch shows like this where your protagonists are a gaggle of kids. Because what's going to happen if we're watching a show? There's no chance for any real interpersonal relationships. There's no chance for relationship arcs. There's no chance for real growth because we're dealing with prepubescent idiots. So how can they grow? How can they go through things that are going to make them better people or have arcs of tell a story?
So I disagree, and I know we need to be wrapping this up, but
no, we got time. We're just going through the show now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say best example of this would be Pokemon. You can do Creature of the Week, young prepubescent kids growing, and
different. I think that's apples and oranges, though. I would say that's apples and oranges. Pokemon was a different breed of thing where its premise of going out, catching them all, having the adventures, this and that. And of course, I used to nickname it in the end, Let's Be Friends, which is what I used to say about the whole thing. Let's Be Friends was the whole epic concept of it in the early days. I did that at Pokemon 20 years ago. So I have no leg to really stand on modern Pokemon. But I would say that Pokemon is a unique instance. And it's not so much about the kids, but they still manage to get you some interesting story arcs and character development in that, and also powerful emotions. Because the Pokemon movie, where the one where they introduced Mewtwo for the first time, that when Pikachu takes the hit and gets turned, or Ash takes the hit and gets turned to stone, that I cried man tears back then. I cried man tears.
That got me teary-eyed also.
I cried man tears because that's an emotional moment. But I think that's because the show didn't try to pander. Is that a good way to say it? Pokemon didn't pander. It knew what it was. Mm-hmm. This show, it's just going through the motions of Monster of the Week, and the kids get in trouble, and what either for the first part, it's okay, what is the Book of Demons going to tell them, or the diary going to tell them this time? What is Amana Jocko, however the hell you say his name, how is he going to pretend to not care and actually help them this time? And then eventually, what random thing is going to save them this time? That's basically your three options for the kids getting out of this, because they can't actually fight back because they're children. Mm-hmm. And I felt with that in this case, with this show, when you're dealing with a cast of characters like this, a bunch of children who are cast in this type of situation, all they're going to be doing is running away and screaming all the time. And isn't that what they do for the entire series? They run away and scream.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Let's run and scream for the middle 10 minutes. Let's have the little brother cry.
Yeah, the little brother. I just want to say this. The little brother's voice, well, it was very reminiscent of, have you ever heard fingernails scratching a chalkboard?
I can take that, actually. I can handle chalkboard fingernails.
Well, it sounds kind of like that, or kind of like a piece of chalk being scratched against the chalkboard. Just youch!
The character himself, all he does is cry at everything. And he refuses to refer to Amana Jocko. He keeps calling it, at least in the sub, he kept calling it by the cat's name instead of the demon name or the spirit name. It's like, dude, it's not your cat anymore. It's possessed. It's been possessed for 18 goddamn episodes. Get it right. But so the format of the whole running away, screaming, last minute thing, one of the three ways to do it, that it gets boring. I mean, okay.
I think the show could have been good if they had like an actual overarching story.
That's what I was going to say next. If you had an overarching thing, that final demon in episode 20, who's the overlord of some sort, and if he had been present the entire time, okay, then you have a story. But these different stories, with the exception of a sixth grader girl being spirit medium for the mother's trying to communicate, and the ever so slow of Amana Jocko's liking of the kids, there's no connective tissue to these episodes. Mm-hmm. one event never carries over to the next.
That I did know. That I did notice, and I definitely concede that point to you. There really wasn't anything connecting the series.
Which is why when I dipped out at episode 14, I think, okay, yeah, I'm going to go right to 20 because none of these episodes, I'm reading the synopsis, nothing happens. That's the term we use in a lot of stuff these days. Nothing happens to move an actual overall story. And that's why that's one of the major failures of this show in general is that there is no story here. And these kids never learn. Well, how about we don't go into the old schoolhouse this time? Well, how about I don't take a piss over the toilet where the thing's going to reach up and grab me and pull me down? How about I don't do that?
Well, this also has an effect on the story because you get to the episode where you learn about the mother's death and her final words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this should have an emotional impact.
Nothing.
But I'm just like, oh, so she has final words that she gave a ghost? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I guess that would be part of why that was part of why, I didn't get into the characters.
Or like you said,
unlikability.
In the Da Vinci episode where they go back in time, you should be excited to see the young version of the mother. Nope.
Yep.
I don't care.
Or when you do the episode with the piano ghost.
Oh, I hated that one.
I actually enjoyed that one, but what it should have done was actually make you like worried. Like, how is she actually going to die or something like that? But you don't have any care.
There's no and the stakes are so low, especially when that episode. All right, the piano episode. Manage that piano episode if they'd been doing an actual story building. If that had been episode 18 or 19, you could see maybe there might be some stakes. She might get stuck, and they might have to do something the following episode to get her out of stuck in some spirit world. That was what, episode 3 or 4 with the piano one. Where?
I think 5.
Let me go back.
Because it was relatively early. If you had an overarching story and some of these stories might have had stakes, you could have had some fear. But like you get to one of those later episodes with the second or third ring girl.
It was 4.
Okay, but you get to like one of the third times they use a ring girl, and it finally has the main girl up against the throne. You're like, okay, yeah, take her out. I don't care. Makes the story a little bit better.
Let's add some grit to this. Have somebody die. Let's not have a happy result. I mean, and every ending is a happy resolved ending. There's no lesson learned, or it's basically weak Saturday morning lesson learned that isn't even fun.
Like I said, this is why I think the manga did it better.
Well, one could say that about a lot of things, but these characters don't grow. They don't grow, and the only one you can say possibly goes is Amana Jocko because he starts to like humans. But then again, he's in a cat the whole series until the final 2 minutes of episode 20. It's like, yeah. I mean, I will say this. One thing. This show succeeded in finally telling me where I saw Amana Jocko as the cat in somebody's super chat and on another stream a couple years ago, and I thought, I've never seen that show. I wonder what that's from. Well, this show gave me that answer finally. All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was gonna say, at least Amana, thinking about something that Anime Man said, Amana Jocko is kind of likable, actually. In the dub, at least, but they don't use him enough. And also, he's hardly ever there after a while. It's like,
he's gone for entire episodes.
Oh, yeah, there's this cat that has a ghost in it. How are we going to resolve that?
Dies. Or he
fight.
Okay. But I mean, it's like this show could have had the opportunity of let's hurry up and have Amana Jocko go through an arc where he's going to like these kids, and then we could have demon cat fighting ghosts. We could have that. At least show me some fights, but they don't even do that. They do it a little bit here and there. He'll jump and scratch something and teleport away or scamper away and have a snarky comment. And it's it. Or at the very end, he'll appear in his full form and wrestle with the spirit overlord guy. But then by then it's just, I'm happy we're done. There's no payoff for this. There's none. So the show itself, the structure failed it with all the things we just listed. And then there's one other thing. I brought up earlier that this was the same era that Inuyasha was being broadcast. 2000, which means it's also the same time the dub started. And Inuyasha, I first saw Inuyasha when it was aired on Toonami. And I thought, or no, it was Adult Swim. And I thought, man, this is badass. I thought it was going to be one thing. And then it turned into the epic, sprawling, beautiful show that it was.
Mhm.
And did you notice the music is basically a ripoff of Inuyasha's general music? It's a complete ripoff of Inuyasha.
I did not. It's been a while since I've watched
It's the
Inuyasha.
same
I
beats,
didn't.
the same beats, same tones. Whenever they're being chased by spirits, it's basically a riff of Inuyasha music. And I'm just thinking, can't even be original on your music, can you? Nope. Can't do it. In the end, thumbs down.
Yeah.
I do not recommend this show for anybody, dub or sub. You guys, I don't recommend the sub. Do you guys even recommend the dub?
I mean, I'll recommend it to people I dislike, but no.
Oh, it's cruel.
The sub to me the dub to me gets a C, but the dub to me gets a D, but the sub absolute F.
No, I give both an F. Both an F. Like if I could give an F minus, I would, because they're both horrible. And I forgot to mention that opening theme.
Oh, I skipped it so many times. It's so annoying.
Oh my God, it's horrible. I've heard some bad openers in my time, and I generally, even openers I like, if I want to hurry up for episodes, I will skip openers I like. Oh, I could not skip that fast enough.
Oh, and
oh my God.
And Adam, we got a question from Jaden Hamilton. What is Inuyasha?
Inuyasha, feudal fairy tale. It's I would say Inuyasha can be considered the first of the isekai brand genre. It is the first major one. Is that fair? I would say it's fair.
Yeah, that'd be fair. It's a fun anime. I haven't watched it for a while.
Well,
I have been itching to see that anime again. I love Inuyasha.
Here's the thing. Okay, so you watch it. I can give you the perfect way to do this. You watch it. There's a website you can go to which tells you when to stop and skip over filler, because you don't have to watch the filler. And then if you're good enough, you can figure out when to fit in the movies. And then of course you watch Final Act, which thank God they gave us Final Act. And I have to say, the sequel anime wasn't terrible. It does not ruin the original. So I can so that was my fear when they came out with Demon Print with what they call it Yashahime Demon Princesses. It's good. It's not the caliber of the original, but it's fun. It doesn't ruin it. And the original characters are still there and nobody's ruined. It doesn't ruin Inuyasha. You can still go back and watch Inuyasha and enjoy it thoroughly. So I highly recommend it. I'm waiting. They just finished earlier this year the remastering on Blu-ray for Inuyasha. I'm waiting for the complete set, and I'm gonna pick it up when they have the complete set on Blu-ray. They just finished it earlier this year. Then I'm gonna rebuy. I have to repurchase my DVD movie set because a couple of them got scratched up, so I threw them all out. So screw it, rebuy it anyway. And Final Act is just great. I love Final Act. When they animated that, I was so happy because I wanted to see some of those end fights. And this guy says Sesshomaru, freaking badass. Sesshomaru badass. All right, guys. That was an interesting episode today. Interesting anime Odyssey.
Sorry, I came in so late.
Well, technical difficulties. It's fine. Dermy Wormy's having tech difficulties too with his internet. It's okay. I don't piss on technical difficulties. We're having them ourselves over on my Star Wars stream. I think I fixed it now, though. We're going to test it out hopefully before Thursday. Oh, yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. Shit. Yeah, test it out. Mustang, if you're watching this, we got to test it out. Anyway, thank you for being here, guys. Even though I was pissy, we still had a good time. Let's go around the horn, pimp your shit. Since our new panel member will get to go first. Dermy, what you got going on the rest of the week?
So first off, check out my YouTube channel, which is Dermy Wormy. Tomorrow first thing. Wi-Fi won't be up till probably 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. I'm going to be uploading my Frost Goodbye video song that I made, which
nice.
I have on the end of my latest video that's still up on YouTube. if you want to check that out. Then I might do a stream tomorrow night on Twitch at twitch.tv/DermyWormy080.
Put that one in the private chat for me because I got
Yeah.
Dermy Wormy. I got your YouTube channel here, but put that one.
I'll
That's too much information.
I'll potentially have to email them to you because I don't
Okay.
know.
Well,
how
I got your I already
navigate
got
on my
Dermy
phone.
Wormy right here. I got that right here. All I got to do is put at Dermy Wormy in, and you're good there. So I got his chat. His YouTube channel is in the description below. So check it out, guys.
Yeah, and I'll email you the link to my Twitch. Yeah, I think tomorrow night I might stream. It depends on how. Well, no, actually, I am streaming tomorrow night. I have to watch the Rings of Power.
Oh,
So
the
when
horror.
that releases, I'll be doing a watch party. If you want to come over and instead of watching the show, watch me slowly wither away.
All right,
So-
anime man, what you got going on?
Okay, first off, before I do pimp my stuff, I just wanted to say thank you for proving that my fears were groundless.
Yeah, your fears were entirely groundless. I'm gonna get you back one day, but your fears are entirely groundless.
And that's what scares me because I know that I know that devious evil mind of yours enough to know that it will be absolutely diabolical.
Well, let's just say I'll call it even if I ever choose a show and you hate it completely, then that'll be even. But I won't know until that happens. But
Fair point. Now, as to what I've got coming up, at the 24th of this month, I'll be putting up the next chapter of my sci-fi serial, Clanless. Visoth Yargan's journey into tragedy begins as he reminisces with the humans he's joined on his past on his homeworld, but is about to learn the horrible truth that one of his old mentors is leading a force of his own people to take back Apollo 12 base. Also coming up next month, 2 story arcs from my serial, The Willowsbrook Chronicles. In dungeon delving, Gunther and a group of adventurers journey into the ruins of the ancient wizard school Starios Academy. The prize? Lost tomes of knowledge from the time before the Great Cataclysm. But in order to achieve this, Gunther is going to have to cook up a recipe that he's never done before. And, well, his freedom is at stake in this one.
ruh-roh.
And in the second one, Spirits Eve Adventures, Gunther will have a closure with the woman who was a mother figure to him, Jeanette Allegra. He'll meet up with the parents he never knew, and he's going to have a rather interesting challenge as he faces off against one of the evil gods of Lavakia. He has to create a certain type of pie. The problem is, if he doesn't, he'll be stuck in one of the 7 levels of hell for all eternity, along with some of his friends.
That doesn't sound fun. All right. Anime Man's links are in the description below. Let's see. We are now on Wednesday. Okay, guys, in about 20 minutes, if you are watching now, watching a replay, only people here, my Andor review will be going live in 20 minutes. Episodes 1 through 3. In short, it's terrible. It sucks. And you'll see why. I'll explain in grueling detail. Tomorrow is Thursday, which means it's She-Hulk Day. Expect that review tomorrow night. Friday, Rings of Power Day. Expect that review probably after FNT. I'm experimenting putting things up late at night right now, reviews-wise. Expect that review after FNT because I'm probably not going to get it done until the show starts, and I'm not going to put it up right away then.
Oh.
Anyway, and also, hang on. And then remember, on Saturday, this is Mordor Country, where we will be ripping apart Rings of Power in all its glory. We have our panels come together, sort of fresh panels. We couple 1 or 2 new faces, maybe 2, definitely 1, maybe 2. Either way, do that. And Sunday roundtable, we'll be short a few of our normals today. I'm working on a couple guests, but either way, join us for that. And tomorrow night, also, there should be hopefully some Star Wars: The Old Republic streaming. We're starting the Sith Warrior storyline. We completed the Jedi Knight storyline. You can go watch it, all 13. Well, actually 14 parts, 12A and 12B. But it's all there. Go check it out. If you have been watching this, had a good time, we thank you for being here. Anime Man, you were going to say something else?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that if you want to check out the Willisbrook Chronicles. It's available on Minds and Subscribestar for either 3 Minds tokens or $3.25. And Clanless is available for either 9 Minds tokens or $11.25 on Minds and Subscribestar.
All right, then. Remember, it's all links are in the description below, except for Jeremy Murray's Twitch, which he's going to email me later and I'll include. Now, we will be back probably on October 19th for the next episode of Anime Odyssey, and we will let...
Hold on, Adam. I just wanted to say, I was thinking, in order to save your sanity for next month, I'm thinking, let's have you choose something that will be easy on your mind. A nice comedy.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna discuss the next round of selection for next one. But anyway, we'll be back on October 19th for another episode of Anime Odyssey. We hope you guys enjoyed it. You saw me freak out a couple moments. We hope it was fun. Either way, we'll catch you later. Have a good night, everybody. See you next time. Have a good day or evening wherever you may be. Take it easy, guys.